So, you just got eliminated from Bachelor Pad. Go ahead and tell us, how do you feel about the whole situation? What was your experience like?
I mean, it filmed all the way back in June, so it's been quite a while. But I was pretty curious how they were going to edit last night in terms of the things that Erica said and just how the whole night went down. I think my reaction is twofold. One, I got caught, and I just tried to game too much, and for that reason, kind of deserved to go home. And you know what I mean, a little bit. I totally did lie to Erica, and she was my friend, and so I felt bad about that. But she also just wasn't someone that was in my alliance, and I pretty easily could have sent home Lindsay that night. But yeah, Lindsay was in my alliance, so I didn't want to do that. That's thing number one. Thing number two is, the Erica Rose blowout was, I think she meant those things, but it's Erica Rose, so I didn't exactly take them seriously. And I get it. I understood that she was upset that she got voted off by her friend. Like, I totally understand that. But obviously the personal things she said and the blow up, didn't understand that part so much and didn't think that was warranted at all. So it was an interesting night, to say the least.
Exactly. Well, first off, yeah, that's how you play the game. You have to kind of strategize.
I always feel like a crazy person when people are like, he's such a jerk. Or when someone votes someone off, I just don't, that's the game. Especially if you don't have an alliance. And not to continue bashing on Erica Rose, but Erica Rose is really bad at Bachelor Pad. You know what I mean? A, she doesn't win any challenges. In fact, she does the opposite. She does the worst in challenges. And she doesn't get in an alliance. So, literally that was week 5. She didn't have a partner.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm saying, and you just can't. Yeah, I tried to keep her around as long as I could, because my alliance kind of took control. But anyway, yeah, it was just her time to go.
Exactly. Well, you know what? You're not the only one who was doing this as well. Chris has been doing it for all these weeks, and he's been strategizing and doing all these things. So I was just surprised to see that Chris didn't go home this week first, before you.
Yeah, my brother said something interesting. He was like, I don't understand how that isn't obvious that ABC is just influencing the game completely. So they changed the game mechanic on Monday night, obviously.
Yes.
So usually it's guys versus girls, and everyone knows that, and we all just kind of go along and know what's happening. And then right when Chris is about to go home, they're like, oh, by the way, guys can't go home, or they will. But yeah, it was I say that, and they can do whatever they want, you know what I mean? And you have to adjust to the game accordingly. But it was pretty surprising. And this is the other thing that didn't really air necessarily, but they didn't let they let everyone vote, and then had Chris go last, and then it was like, oh yeah, and by the way, you can take Erica in with her if you want, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I found that kind of odd. I know.
Yeah, so as soon as I found out that happened, I just packed my bags, you know what I mean? That was kind of game, set, match for me.
Right,
so.
Right, what he also did as well, right when Tony was going to give the rose, he's like, oh, wait, and he took him outside. I'm like, are you allowed to do that? Like, what is
exactly.
this?
And, we actually, it's kind of hilarious. This is super behind the scenes, but I freaked out a little bit from a gaming standpoint. I was just like, I don't understand how this is legal, or how the rest of the game is going to work, because then why isn't everyone just going to bring everyone into the voting room? And I that seemed like it would absolutely be a rule, right?
Exactly, I think so.
So they literally put down the cameras, and they brought in ABC gaming lawyers who are not associated with Bachelor Pad, but are just there to talk about and recognize the legalities of the game. And it was this woman, and she was like, it's not written in the rules that you can't do that, so he technically didn't break a rule, which I thought was interesting. And then I was like, well, all right, then I just got outplayed, you know what I mean? Then Chris just came up with a really good play.
Wow. So. We honestly, first off, we were rooting for you. We're like, okay, Michael, all the way. And secondly, we just didn't think you'd go home again so soon. You were such a good player. You had it all figured out. So I was like, I really didn't expect it.
Thanks. Yeah, I certainly didn't expect it either. I wasn't there to win. I wasn't. If I would have made it to the finale, I think that would have been huge. But, my alliance was awesome. I really was allied up really well, and people were they literally called me the coach. And, guess who doesn't win the championship at the end? It's the players, not the coach. And the dream that I kind of sold everyone was if I was there in the finale, the other couple was going to win because no one was going to vote for me to win twice. You know what I mean? Like they would want someone else to win. So honestly, everyone was kind of down with that, and it was really my goal to get my alliance into the final challenge because then in the final challenge, you know, if you perform well, you go. If you do the worst, you leave. But everyone has a fair chance getting there. So that was my goal, and yeah, I was surprised that I left before that.
Right. Well, now who's going to entertain them in the house? Who's going to be as funny as you to entertain these people?
That's nice of you to say. Yeah, there's still some. Ed is one of the funniest humans I've ever met in my life. He's been drinking less the last few weeks.
Oh, good to hear.
Good to hear. But you know, yeah, he'll be entertaining for sure. Actually, I say that though, and I mean, especially after this week, the game gets really serious. Like, if there's not a lot of room for, you know what I mean, for people laughing, because you really do, like, you're really close to the 250 grand when you're at the stage in the game. So I'm still gonna watch.
Oh yeah, for sure. Is there anyone you're rooting for in particular to kind of win this thing?
Yeah, I'm rooting for Rachel. She was my partner and totally my crush. So she's gonna pick up partners with Nick, and I really like Nick as well. So I'll be rooting for them. And then Jacqueline and Ed. It was basically Rachel and I. Jacqueline and Ed were kind of the center of our alliance and really locked up. Actually, I say that, and Blakely and Tony were as well. They were kind of like my brother and sister the whole time. So yeah, I was pretty happy with my alliance and would be really happy to see any of them win.
Oh, good choices. We agree with you, all of those. So, and then we were going to ask you, so tell us, like, about Rachel as well. Are you still seeing her or not, or?
Sure, I can't say too much, literally because of my contract. Okay. So you have to watch the finale for that. But I can say that she's just, she's great. She's awesome. She was a total surprise. I had met her before Bachelor Pad. She came out to film the Women Tell All of Ben season, and I met her then and really liked her. I didn't really have any warm fuzzies that night, but on Bachelor Pad, yeah, as soon as we had that first kiss on the second episode, yeah, I was just like totally into her and really liked her, and it was a huge surprise. So yeah, you'll have to stay tuned to see where that goes.
Awesome. And how was it having all the fans there?
I feel like the fans got kind of not a bad rap, but people were just like, ugh, get the fans out of here immediately. I was like, I really liked all of them, so, as much as I wanted to go against that grain, that's never something you do. You know what I mean? If the majority of the people want to do something, you're an idiot if you try to go against that. Yeah. And so, really, the alumni, wanted them out. And if anything, I was pretty sure that I was going to come back and be voted off almost immediately, right? Because, like, I won last time, and I thought it was going to be like, what's this asshole doing here? So, honestly, like, the fans were kind of my way to buy more time and, you know what I mean, and stick around with the alumni and really build up my line. So, I'm super thankful for them in that way. And then, just person to person, I guess, besides the twins, I loved them. Especially David. David was just a really, really good guy. It just didn't game so well, and this is also, I don't know how much this came across. So David sunk his ship right away, right? By date number 1, he won the challenge, and he was like, we're going to overthrow the alumni. But it was like, dude, there's 15 of us, and there's 5 fans. So the numbers just weren't there. But, he should have gone home the next week. He didn't win a challenge, but honestly, in those 2 or 3 days, we just all liked him. We just got to like him so much that we didn't want him to go home. And I think that just speaks volumes to David. You know what I mean? He should have gone home and didn't because we liked him. So.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, we like David too. He's a good player. I could have actually seen him gone a little farther actually too. I don't know. He just fit in so well with everybody. So you didn't even consider him a fan really. Like, he just fit in.
Absolutely. Yeah, we didn't consider him a fan, but we did consider him a giant threat because he was a monster in challenges. You know what I mean? He was just, he just showed up to win.
He's a go-getter.
This is a behind-the-scenes thing that I think is hilarious. Do you remember the first challenge? It was called Fall Out of Love. Everyone had to stick into the red hearts.
Yes, the hearts.
David, you're not gonna believe this. David found out from a producer or overheard something that, your like grip and strength was going to be involved in the challenge.
Uh-huh.
So in his pockets, in his shorts, he got flour and put flour in there. So he would like put his hands in his pocket so that, they would stay really dry and then grip on to the sides. We were like, who is this guy? He's like MacGyver in challenges.
No way.
It was pretty funny. He was a gamer, man. He was hardcore.
Wow, that is interesting. That is behind the scenes. That is nice.
Yeah.
Wow. So can you tell us kind of like, I know you can't say much, but what's actually reality and what part is actually like scripted?
Sure. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can say this because it's the truth. It's not scripted by any means, and we are not actors. We do not have lines. We do not have to say or do anything. But it's certainly a produced show. You know what I mean? And the biggest way that I say that is, let's say for Bachelorette, they have 10 episodes, right? So that's 20 hours of television because they're 2 hours per episode, 20 hours. During filming, they get 1,200 hours of footage. So 1,200 hours getting down to 20. If you think about it, you're filming people all day. You can kind of edit and tweak people to say and do really what you want and kind of make them characters. You really can. So separately from that, I can say that, that mansion there's something in the water. You know what I mean? It's its own little bubble, and honestly, I think some people just are not cut out for it. I think they get in there and they snap. You average about 3 hours of sleep a night. You're interviewing all day. And then little things like, it's mansions and limos, so there's no reason to complain, but you kind of lose all of your basic freedoms. You know what I mean? If you want anything, someone else has to get it for you. You know what I mean? Between food and eating, and you don't really get to decide what you want to eat. You don't decide when you go to bed. You don't decide when you wake up. You don't get to talk to any of your friends and family. So little things like that, after even 3 days, you kind of start being like, oh my God, I want to cry about my love for, you know what I mean? Like, you really do. So again, it's not scripted. We're not actors, but it's not necessarily reality. You know what I mean? Because it's Bachelor Pad and Bachelorette and Bachelor. It's a crazy little world.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
You have to be really quick to answer, though. Like, if someone, like, arguments with you, you have to be quick to snap back at them with an answer and be, like, on it. You know what I mean? You can't just sit back and be like, well, I don't know. You have to be really, like, quick.
Yeah, especially in Bachelor Pad. Another thing that confuses me that I totally agree with what you said is when people are like, hey, are you going to vote for me? And when people say yes. Like, I don't understand why you would ever tell anyone that you're going to vote for someone, or even more to the point, if you're not so quick, like if you're not witty, and if someone asks you something and you're not very good at arguing or arguing back, whatever that is, then just avoid conversations. You know what I mean? Like, if people want to talk to you, be like, no, I got to go do an interview. So I can't talk till tomorrow when you're gone. You know what I mean? Like, just don't have the conversations.
Yeah, well, Kailyn's funny. He's like, yes, I'm voting. And then, no, I'm not. So it's funny how he does that.
Yeah, Kailyn was a super interesting player, and one that I didn't even really, understand or trust or believe, and that's a tough person to have in your alliance. But yeah, the majority of the time, he always acted on what he told me. You know what I mean? So I never really had any reason to vote him off. But yeah, I mean, for people outside of our alliance, he would go right up to him and just be like really comfortable lying to them. You know what I mean? And for that reason, he was kind of a mole in a sense. Like, he would figure out what the other team was doing. Yeah, he was a really interesting player.
Yeah, if I were there, though, like, I wouldn't really want confrontation too much. I know that's the whole game, but, like, I would kind of want to, like, just agree with them. Like, are you voting for this one? Like, sure, because, you know what I mean? Then you're just starting a whole argument, and it's like, that's, like, a lot to put up with, especially if you're arguing with a lot of the strong links there.
Absolutely. It's like, yeah, the best thing you can do is duck the radar. You know what I mean? You just agree with everyone, drink a lot, have fun. Yeah, as long as you just kind of don't, if you don't put yourself on the chopping block, and you're right, then if you avoid conversations, that's honestly a really good strategy.
We noticed also Ed is very, like, an honest guy. He, not gullible, like, kind of, naive.
Absolutely, and that's something I really didn't have a sense of while I was filming there, but I have been really surprised with his conversations with Chris. Yes. Yeah, there's so many times where I'm like, why were you buying into this
I
guy? You know
know,
what I mean?
right?
They really did. They really seemed buddy. And Ed was on my season on Jillian's season, and I got to know him really well. And if honestly, I showed up at Bachelor Pad thinking that he'd be one of my good friends and totally someone that I would ally up with. And I was surprised that he kind of confided in Chris
Mm-hmm.
more than in me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, well, we're excited to see how this is all going to end out and the finale and everything like that. So we're excited for that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Is there going to be a special after Bachelor Pad where everybody talks about it? Is there a special?
No, they actually don't do that. I know they do that for Bachelor and Bachelorette, but the last 2 seasons there hasn't been a special.
Okay, because I'd like to see that happen. I want
I
everybody to
know.
like talk about it, and that'd be cool.
Yeah, and the one thing that, well, I don't know if it's necessarily good TV, but it's Bachelor Pad, which is part of the Bachelor franchise. So
Right.
it's a game show, but it doesn't really air like a game show. It's
Right.
more like love, relationships, love, rose ceremony. What happens? I don't know. Like I feel like the alliances aren't really clearly drawn, and week to week, you don't really see the strategy behind everything. So if again, this is kind of the nerd gamer in me, but I would want a special where yeah, like we get to talk all about why every decision was made because it was
Yeah.
fascinating and changes, happened all the time.
Yeah, that would be cool. That needs to
Yeah,
happen. Maybe you can talk to the producers, get something out there. You can have your
I,
own show. You
I'm,
need to have your own.
yeah, I'm not terribly important, but I'll certainly mention it.
There was some people talking about you being the next Bachelor. Would you consider that or do any more Bachelor stuff?
Absolutely, yeah, it's totally something I would consider. Again, you kind of have to watch the finale to see where I am love life wise.
Ah,
Um, But yeah, I think it's the biggest adventure on earth, right? I think and I'm an adventure hound, so there's that for sure, a reason to do it. And then yeah, I'm 28 and I'm ready for love, so yeah, absolutely, I would do it.
uh, well, now tell us, is it harder to find love on something like The Bachelor or in real life?
Oh, that's a really good question. Um, yeah, again, I kind of alluded to the fact that The Bachelor, it's a bubble, right? And you're kind of there, and people, you don't have to worry about jobs or you have no distractions. You're just kind of focused on love 24 hours out of the day, and there's no real problems to deal with. So that's not, you know, it's totally an easy way to fall in love, but it's not. You're not really seeing everyone's true colors. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I think it's easy to fall in love on Bachelor. I think it's harder to find someone that you're actually going to marry
Mm-hmm.
on Bachelor. But in real life, there's just 1,000 distractions every day, so it's hard to find time to set aside and you know. Yeah, I'd say they're probably on equal playing fields. Honestly, I mean it's hard. It's hard to find the person that you want to spend
True.
the rest of your life with. You know.
Right. Well, on The Bachelor, like, who said it? Blakely and Tony? Like, once they were taken out of the Bachelor Pad, it's like, picture taking these people out into the real world. Is this someone you really want to spend your time with for forever? You know what I mean? Like, that's what you have to consider, I
Absolutely.
guess.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. Yeah, it's a huge deal.
Absolutely. Great. And do you have a most memorable moment off Bachelor Pad?
Ooh, good question. Yeah, and it was actually several moments, and unfortunately, none of them aired. I play music. I'm a singer-songwriter,
Mm.
and you know, we don't have any TV, radio, um, music, reading material, anything like that. So about every 3 days, people would be like, "Yo, man, will you do a concert like just so we can hear music?" And so it never really gets on camera. But there's kind of this barbecue pit area next to the pool that's got this big bed in it and these curtains. And during sunset, like every 3 or 4 nights, everyone would pile in there, and we would all drink wine and stuff, and I'd play like an hour and a half little concert. And I mean, I just loved that every time. It was really fun. And I do it late night and people would just fall asleep. Like literally 10 people would just be asleep on the bed and I kind of sing them to sleep. So that was super special for me. I love that.
That's cool. I wish they showed it more so on the show. You were going the other day to play something, and it's like, come on, we want to hear you sing.
I know. And as much as I obviously, would like that just for my music career reasons, I totally, that's not the purpose of the show, right? Like I didn't go on there to promote music, and if anything, I'm kind of glad they didn't, because then it's like, oh, he just went on there to promote his music, and that's not true. But I could see how people take it that way.
That's true. They could twist that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about your music also. What are you currently working on at the moment?
Sure. So the EP that we released went out on the 23rd. That was about a month ago, and then last week or the week before that, we started recording a new single. So we're going to release the new single on September 10th at the finale to kind of coincide, the end of the show. But things are going well. We're setting up tour dates and selling a whole bunch of T-shirts, which is really fun. And we're going to be going to label meetings at the beginning of next month to try to, get signed on with the label. So it's kind of the last thing I expected to come out of all this. And I've been, singing and playing and writing songs for 10 years now. But yeah, I didn't go on the Bachelorette music. I didn't go on Bachelor Pad for music. But the wonderful thing about shows like this is it kind of, opens the door for you to do stuff that you wouldn't normally get to do. So it's been a huge blessing and something I'm so thankful to get to do. So we'll see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I heard Stay Strong for the first time, and I was just, taken by it. You just, spoke through the music. It was just, fabulous. It was so powerful and such a great song. I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, it obviously directly applied to what happened last year at the finale when, Holly didn't tell me she was engaged, and then I found out, and literally that song just kind of dumped out of that experience. So yeah, I mean, when I was singing it, I was singing it.
You meant it. Seriously, you could feel it through the song. You could feel it.
Well, thank you. Thanks. That's certainly the goal.
Uh-huh. And so, where does a lot of your inspiration come from when you're writing all this music?
Yeah, I love that question because it's everything and nothing, and it really is. It can be something very specific that happens day to day. It can absolutely be, from heartache and from love lost or love I'm looking for and stuff. But yeah, sometimes it feels like I'm just sitting on my couch and a song, a melody comes into my head. And I'm also, this is kind of the other thing I couple it with. Some artists write music first and then write lyrics, and some people write lyrics first and then write music. And mine's always been kind of a mixture of both. And I never really know how a song's going to start. You know what I mean? What its origin story is going to be. So, yeah, everything and nothing. You know what I mean?
Right. Interesting. So, also tell us, we have a couple of get-to-know-you questions. So,
sure, go for it.
First off, we're going to ask you one thing we may not know about you.
Ooh. Well, one thing you know. Oh! This is very dirty. And it probably plays back into, why I'm such a gamer in Bachelor Pad, like why I'm constantly gaming. I have a twin brother, and he and I, as a little hobby, develop board games. So we have two games that, are fully developed and prototyped and everything. One is called Mice and Dice, and it's like a Yahtzee kind of Uno family fun game.
Uh-huh.
And another one is called Spiritual Warfare, and it's like a super nerdy, really intense role-playing board game. So no one knows that about me because it's very nerdy, but we just love it so much.
Wow, no, that's really cool. That's so neat.
I don't know if it's cool, but it's certainly really fun.
Awesome. That's neat. Yeah, we didn't know that.
Yeah.
Very cool. And how about one thing you can't live without, like a prized possession?
Oh, my guitar. I play it every day, and I'd just start stabbing people if something happened to my guitar.
So you have one special guitar, like just one, or does it? You know what I mean? Like, can you use any guitar, or just you have that specific one?
I've got a few, but the one that I bought after I won Bachelor Pad, that was my one sport. I didn't buy clothes or a car or anything, but after I won last year, I bought this guitar. And I had honestly planned on spending, like a lot of money on it, like $5,000 or $6,000 on a really high-end guitar. And I probably played 20 to 25 guitars before I made my choice. And the one that I bought, I literally just strummed one chord when I sat down with it. And I was like, ooh. And it was like half as much as I wanted to spend. And so I was kind of like, is it cheap? Is it cheap? But I just fell in love with it. So yeah, that's it's my baby. It's a Martin, and I just love it to death.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And how about a favorite fast food restaurant of yours?
Chipotle. Oh my gosh. Chipotle burritos?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I could eat one every day for lunch and then have one for dinner. I love them so much.
Good choice. How about Chick-fil-A? Are you a fan?
I am. I don't get to go as much. There isn't really one that's well located around me, but I love them. Actually, I do some sponsorship work with them for my company out in LA. So I work with them a lot, and I love. Yeah, they're very closely tied into charities, and they're just a really good company. Besides, obviously, unbelievably good chicken sandwiches. So
Yes, really good. Chick-fil-A is really, really good.
yeah.
And how about also, do you have a current celebrity crush?
Ooh, good question. No, I had one. Chelsie Hightower from Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, we do.
She was totally my celebrity crush, and I met her at an event out here in LA, and I turned around and I was literally like, "Oh my God, that's Chelsie Hightower." And we went on a few dates actually, and
Oh,
she was wonderful, but there wasn't any kind of real spark. So we've remained really good friends, and I really like her, but just not romantically. So
uh-huh.
that didn't even answer the question really. But she was my celebrity crush. I'll say that.
Okay. Cool, interesting. So, do you have I'm noticing a pattern here. Do you have a thing for blondes?
I have had a thing for I do. I've had a thing for bonds for sure, and I don't know what it is, but that's the way I'm built.
You know what? I think you need to give brunettes a chance.
I know. Honestly, the blondes haven't been working out, so I think you're right.
Exactly. And now, if you could have like any celebrity on the Bachelor Pad to have with you guys there, who would you like to see on there?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I mean, I would either want to go someone that's really cool or someone that's just crazy. Like what's Pauly Shore up to? What do you think he's been up to?
You
Like,
know what?
throw him on Bachelor Pad and just go insane. You know?
I was.
Um, who else? Like Zach Galifianakis. I mean, good lord,
No.
that would just be a riot. But then I would want, yeah, I kind of want someone, like Edward Norton or Morgan Freeman. Someone that's like, yeah, just got that kind of dominating voice and presence. And I don't know. That's a good question. That's a really good
I know.
question.
You know what? You could think about this all day because I was like, I know. Just like anybody and everybody, I don't even know.
I know. Yeah.
So, and then is there anything else you want to let your fans know out there?
Oh yeah, just that I love them and that it has been. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be asked back on Bachelor Pad 4, and I don't know if I'll be the Bachelor or whatever, but it's been 3 years now that this has been a part of my life, and I just can't say thank you enough to just people saying nice things. It really comes down to that. I've been unbelievably lucky to have people for the last 3 years being unbelievably kind to me. And so that's a lot of love, and I just want to give it back. So thank you, and I love you guys.
That's awesome. And we were going to ask you also about your Twitter so people can follow you on there as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah, just at Michael Stag. It's pretty simple. Yeah, at Michael Stag. I really do before I bed. Before I go to bed, I try to read all my at mentions and reply or favorite as much as I can. So if people take the time to tweet, I really do try to take the time to read them.
That's awesome. I was going to say we like the little logo stag swag.
Yeah, Stag for the t-shirts. Yeah,
That's cool. Very neat. So you have Twitter and then Instagram as well?
I do. Yeah, I don't even know my handle on Instagram. I think it's just Michael Stagliano. I don't even know. But yeah, I'm on Instagram as well, and I usually put up Instagram pictures through Twitter. You know how you can kind of do that, so people can find me on there that way. But yeah, I'm on Instagram as well.
Okay, well, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Athena. It was a pleasure.